play the game. So, you know, you have more options than you ever did before when it comes to shows like iCarly and Victorious. I do give the publishers of the game a lot of credit. They actually sit down and invest the time in making these games. You know, I just looked up a couple of video clips from Victorious Time to Shine on the Xbox because I was really interested in seeing, you know, some of the facial scans, the graphics, how the game was choreographed. And it was absolutely awesome, you know, seeing these characters digitally remastered, brought to life in a whole different way. You know, you're so used to seeing them on television, and then you go from seeing them on television to being computer animated characters. You know, the concept of the Victorious Time to Shine game was awesome, because not only did you have the option to get up and sing and dance, you had the ability to create your own player, you had the ability to perform some karaoke songs, and it was just incredible. You know, the characters interact with you in such a way that no other game from Nickelodeon had in the past. And I hope to see video games like this released for iCarly on the Xbox 360 Connect, because of course now we have the technology to have games that are completely motion sensor with the motion sensor abilities of the Xbox 360 Connect. If you haven't seen that thing, it is absolutely phenomenal. It's beyond me why iCarly doesn't have a game like that. Victorious was the first show from Nickelodeon to have a game released with this kind of capability. And I would really love to see, you know, iCarly have something like this. If you look up the Groovy Foodie game on YouTube, the most you're probably going to see right now are a couple of trailers, unless someone's obtained an advanced copy of the game. Unfortunately, I haven't played it, and, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I probably won't play this game because the concept of it just doesn't jump out at me. It's not a game that I would invest any more than $35 in, and that's pretty much what you're going to pay for that by the time taxes go on it. Usually, you know, a game that they've used on Nintendo DS in its first few weeks doesn't sell for any more than a little over $30. I wouldn't pay over $35 for this game. Because I have seen, you know, children's games with better concepts than this. I mean, Hannah Montana always had a great concept. The Victorious games have a phenomenal concept, and I actually just priced the Victorious video game. In its first few weeks, it was anywhere from $59 to $65, taxes included. And over the last 6 months, the game's price has dropped significantly, going from about $59 right down to $20. So about 6 months from now, you'll be able to pick this one up in the $10 bin at your local Walmart, definitely. But, you know, I wouldn't pay over $35 for it. So if you wait about 6 months, you'll be able to get it significantly cheaper, and you might even be able to pick it up secondhand. You know, I've seen iCarly games released in the past with better concepts than this one. As I said, the concept of this game, pretty simple. Sentenced to so many hours of community service, you have to create your own dishes. The only thing really that jumps out about this game to me is the fact that you really have to use your creative side of your brain. Your brain has two different sides. You have a side that is devoted to being more creative than the other. So that's the side of your brain, I believe it's the right side of your brain, that you really have to use to come up with the most insane and craziest dishes and desserts you've probably never thought possible. And you have so many different options with this game. You have just as many options with creating desserts in this game as you did to create your own player for Victorious Time to Shine. So really that's the only thing that really jumps out about me with this game. The promotional graphic for the game, if you're listening to the YouTube version of the show, that's appealing in its own little way. You have the donuts, you have the pizza, you have the hot dog, you have a smoothie there. It's awesome. And of course you have the split screen with the Nintendo DS. The characters are going to speak to you on the top of the screen, and the game, of course, comes to life in a whole different way. You know, it's not a game that, you know, looks that appealing to me. Maybe because I'm, you know, pretty diverse. One minute I could be playing a Disney game, something like Toy Story, and the next minute I'm playing Resident Evil Raccoon City. That's the game I'm working on now. You know, big fan of stuff like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy and stuff. So initially those kind of games jump up at me more than this kind of game. This game will sell because of the names that are associated with it. Of course, it's a Nickelodeon game that will immediately sell the product. The fact that Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCarthy, who are two crazy talents Nickelodeon picked up several years ago, the fact that they're on the cover of the game and their face is on the cover of the game, that is what's going to sell this thing. Believe me when I tell you, it's not going to be the concept of the game by any means that's going to sell it. If you've played an iCarly video game before in the past, it's going to be similar to video games you played in the past from the iCarly video game series, so don't expect much difference from what you played in the past that goes along with iCarly for the DS. It's just going to be modified a little bit with a whole different theme. And it's going to be really interesting to find out how many copies of this game is sold by both Nickelodeon and the publishers of the game. And this will really put into perspective what the future of video games will be for iCarly for later on this year in 2012. Hopefully by the end of this year they'll have something on the PlayStation and the Xbox. As I've said many times before, I really wish Nickelodeon and Disney and other companies that fall into that same category, maybe even DreamWorks, who do have a couple of titles on the PlayStation 3. DreamWorks is probably the only company that has more titles than anybody when it comes to children's programming on the PS3. I've seen everything from How to Train Your Dragon to the latest Madagascar game on the PS3, so DreamWorks probably has an advantage over Nickelodeon and Disney in that perspective. I really would love to see more games released from children's-oriented companies for the PS3 and the Xbox video game consoles, because they really need that, and it would be a fantastic way to promote it. And the big thing about this game is the fact that iCarly is going to receive a lot of attention. There's probably going to be a lot of giveaways from both the Nickelodeon channels in both the United States and in Canada for this game. And for additional information on the game, you can actually head to the video game publisher's website. I don't have the URL in front of me, unfortunately, but if you go to a website like Amazon.com or EB Games, very easy to pull up through Google. The link to the publisher's website is included along with the video game review. Not much of a concept for the iCarly video game that's going to be released over the next couple of days, but if you've gotten any sneak peeks, or you've got any photos or screenshots, or send them to us. HEWWrestling@hotmail.com, or you can find me at my personal email address, JonathanClarke2005@hotmail.com. I want to know what you guys think of this. Do you think that this is a step in the right direction for the whole iCarly franchise? Do you think Dan Schneider is going to benefit off this? So much goes to the publishers, so much goes to Nickelodeon, so much goes to the stars of the show. Everybody gets a cut in this. I hope that the game definitely sells well. Because as I mentioned here earlier, it's going to be a huge indication as to what the future of video games to come are going to be for shows like iCarly. I'm a big fan of children's programming. I've always supported it over the years, and I think that this is a positive step and a big move for companies like Nickelodeon and Disney to make by not only marketing their young talent, their teen idols as they're referred to, by giving them so much exposure on television, but they're now also releasing video games with their faces on them for various video game consoles. Very diverse selection of games when it comes to children nowadays. You have everything from Disney Channel Party on the Wii, which was a game specifically designed for the Nintendo Wii console, and then you have so many games from Nickelodeon on the Nintendo DS. One thing that jumps out about me with Nickelodeon games is, the only one that really has a game on video game consoles like Xbox and PlayStation 3 is SpongeBob. And, that's the funny thing. I mean, you go to Walmart, you always see a SpongeBob game for the PS3 or the Xbox in the showcase. You never see a video game for the PS3. When it comes to Victorious or iCarly, you always have to have a DS. You'll probably be able to pick one of those up if you actually want to invest the time and the money into a DS for about $124. Not that expensive, not as expensive as they were, but it doesn't really give someone with a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox much of a choice. If you want to get the most out of iCarly and Victorious, you got to have a DS, and you got to have an Xbox Connect, which is a bit cheaper than what it was initially when it was released. I think the Xbox Connect has dropped down in price a lot. I think initially when it was first released, you could buy them in a bundle with an Xbox console, or you could buy the Kinect camera separate from the console for about $249. So it's dropped a lot in price. So if you want to invest the time in a DS or an Xbox, I guess that's your choice, but I personally wouldn't. Just to see someone be satisfied that they're playing an iCarly game or a Nickelodeon game or whatever. I'm not going to sit down and play this game, but I'm a bigger fan of iCarly than what I was 6 months ago, and I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe it's because I don't get Disney Channel anymore. I don't know. But, it's not going to sell more copies than, any other DS game that Nickelodeon and D3 Publishing have released in the past. It's not going to sell that much more than Victorious, which is a show that just recently won Favorite TV Show at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and that's another huge reason why I can't get over the fact that these shows don't have games on consoles like PS3 and Xbox. I mean, you have video game consoles that are more popular than DS out there, and you have a show that just recently won the award for Favorite TV Show of 2012, 2011, and they don't even have games on the PS3 or the Xbox. It's always this Wii shit or this DS crap, and I just wish, companies like Nickelodeon and Disney would get a clue, because DreamWorks is ahead of them with video games released for virtually every console, which is unfortunate. The game is rated E for everyone. The age demographic I'm saying is anywhere from about 6 to 10 years of age, and if you're not a fan of iCarly, I'll say it again, this is not the game for you. But if you've been following iCarly for, let's say, about 5 seasons, and you know somebody who's a die-hard Miranda Cosgrove fan, this is a game to pick up for your DS video game library. It's something that they're going to love. It's something that they're not going to part with. But if you're not a fan of iCarly, then don't invest the time. Go purchase something like MotorStorm or fucking Grand Theft Auto for your PS3, because honestly, this is not the direction for you to head in. If you're a fan of iCarly, it is. If you're not, do something better with your time, honestly. But I do congratulate D3 Publishing and Nickelodeon for this latest iCarly video game, which is going to be dropping over the next couple of weeks. Video game previews are available on all video game websites on the internet, like IGN. They've got a couple of screenshots, a couple of reviews, and of course IGN and different websites on the internet allow you the opportunity to post your own review of your games that you played. So if you played the iCarly video game, head to a website where you can type a review and share your opinion. And if you've actually played the game, give us your own little review of it here on YouTube at youtube.com/JonathanClarke22. We do invite you and tell us what you think. You can also send us a tweet with any photos, videos, or links from iCarly Groovy Foodie at twitter.com/JonathanClarke1, and you can join the conversation that is happening right now on my Facebook page at facebook.com/HEW Entertainment. So now the choice is up to you. What are you going to do? Are you going to purchase